All right, folks, welcome back to News One Now. I'm broadcasting live today from 30 Rock, and it was, man, when I got here yesterday, it was like 35, 40 degrees, rainy and windy. It was utterly miserable. It's supposed to be 60 degrees today in New York. Shelly, give me a shot of D.C., the capital right there, for our audience. And so you see in the nation's capital as well, you can see right now how it looks there. It's gray, overcast, something along those lines. The weather is changing, and so we're getting warm in certain spots and others as well, and so we're working through all of these different looks. So what happens if you're one of the 18 million adults with spring allergies? You might be rubbing your itchy eyes and sneezing and all that sort of stuff, and you're going, oh my God, look what's about to happen. And so how do we deal with it? Well, joining us right now, the Urban House Doctors, Dr. Carla and Dr. Rob. How y'all doing?
Hey, Roland.
Doing wonderful.
Glad to have you on the show. And, of course, my sneezing, itching panel is still with me as well, dealing with, because we all deal with it. And here's what's crazy. And so a lot of people don't even realize they have allergies. All of a sudden, it just hits you, and you think, so here's the thing that really jumps out at me. How do I know I don't have a cold, but I got allergies?
And that's actually an excellent question, Roland, because a lot of these symptoms do overlap. And so, for example, with both cold and allergy symptoms, you may have itchy eyes, you may have a runny nose, you may have a sore throat, cough, even sneezing. The big distinction is that typically with cold, you may also have associated symptoms of fever or body aches, which you should not have if it's simply allergy. So that's the biggest distinction that we need to make. And then also recognizing if those symptoms came on after some certain exposure, whether it was environmental, being outside, in the lawn, doing grass, things of that nature. So that's the big distinction between the allergy symptoms and cold symptoms.
All right, then. So, all right, so y'all got some props there on the set. And tell Jason they're not toys. So let me sit here and his eyes get wide. So, already? That's right. So, Dr. Carla,
yes,
you've got something there that can help folks when it comes to allergy season. What you got?
We do. We've got the top 5 things that anyone can use to survive this allergy season. The first one is a towel, and we use this as a reminder to really tell people to shower.
A towel?
A towel, yes. And it's a reminder to really shower after you've been outdoors or after you've been exposed to allergens. And people don't think about this. They've been outside, they've been having a picnic or doing sports, and then they come back in the house and they go lay down in their bed. Now they're rubbing around.
Hey.
Okay, so maybe not you.
Hold on. If you've been outside doing some garden work and playing sports, and you come lay your funky behind in the bed, you need your behind work.
Not everyone has your hygiene practices.
That's right.
So recognize that there are some that do that.
And people just don't think about it. You know, they don't think that there are allergens now in their hair that they haven't washed out. So it's really a good reminder to remember that you're carrying those very same allergens you were exposed to outside with you indoors. So it's always a good idea to shower after you've been exposed.
Is that a teapot I see? What's that?
Now that's actually what's called a neti pot, okay?
Oh no, trust me, I use that because, my God, whether it's that or even the sinus bottle, because, man, look, that will get all that muck out of your sinus
It's
system.
a lifesaver,
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. And for first-time users, you might be surprised at how much muck, as you put it, Roland, will come out. But certainly this is something that has huge benefits in treating those who suffer from allergies. It really does flush out those sinus passages. It flushes those allergens out so that you're not having long-lasting effects of your allergen exposure. So this is key. Now, the one thing I do recommend is that you follow the directions closely. You don't want to use tap water necessarily, or if you do, you want to first boil it, let it cool off. Don't use boiling water. Let it cool off first, and then add the solution that comes with the neti pot to it. It's a saltwater saline solution, and it really does wonders in terms of rinsing those allergens out of your nasal passages.
You'll
I
be
know
surprised
I know my panel there got some questions. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, I got to ask this. So, you know, in my household growing up, we had pets, right? How do you keep your dog from bringing in all the, I mean, because it's one thing for me to shower down. I don't want to shower my dog every single time it comes in the house. That becomes a problem in and of itself.
Yes.
So how do you keep pets, cats, whatever it is, from bringing stuff in?
It's tough. It really is tough because a lot of people are allergic to the actual pet dander, which is, you know, for cats, it can even be the saliva. For dogs, a lot of times it's the fur and the scales that come off. And so it's tough. And so for a lot of allergy sufferers, sometimes we have to break the tough news. You know, Fido may have to go.
Well, but I mean, what if he brings in like pollen? pollen. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, pets bring in pollen
They
in a way that
do.
regular
They
people don't.
absolutely do. And
Right.
the only way to really control that is to bathe them.
Is it
Wow.
important to know what you're allergic to? Because whether it's a dog or pollen or an oak tree, I mean,
Yes,
it's important to get tested?
It is. Now, we don't necessarily recommend testing for the average person. A lot of people we know have environmental allergies. They're allergic to trees or grass or what have you. It's only in those severe cases where we're having trouble controlling the symptoms that we really recommend true allergy testing so we can identify and limit the exposures.
My son actually was tested, and he's basically allergic to everything except cockroaches.
Wow.
And I don't plan to have a pet cockroach.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what sort of suggestions do you give for people who, like him, are like hyper allergic to everything all year round? It's just not limited to quote unquote allergy season.
Yeah, and that's an excellent question. And certainly there are those individuals who do have a wide spectrum of things that they're allergic to. As best you can, avoidance. Now, obviously, that's not going to be very practical when he has year-long allergies, but certainly taking certain prophylactic measures, using the steroid nasal sprays, maybe taking a daily antihistamine to help cut down on those symptoms, and then doing some of the other things that we talked about as well when he does get exposure to those allergens, bathing, when he comes inside, taking his shoes off. I remember my grandmother had the plastic-covered sofa.
Yeah.
Who knew that was actually a really good way to cut down on allergens?
Wow.
And so Grandma knew what she was talking about. Everybody go get plastic for your sofa.
No, Doc, you're not going to bring that back.
Yes, sir.
telling you.
Listen, Roland, I'm sending you a plastic cover for your
no,
sofa.
no,
We're going to make sure you get one, all right?
All right, you're going to need a doctor if you do that. All right, we are out of time. The Urban House Call Doctors, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Where can people get more tips from y'all on allergies and other health issues?
Thanks.